Property taxation is a fundamental aspect of how governments operate, and it's something that affects nearly everyone. Almost every country imposes taxes on property to fund essential services. The most common form of this tax is the property tax, which is typically assessed annually based on the value of real estate. Think land and buildings. Sometimes it even extends to personal property, like business equipment. Local governments, such as cities or counties, are usually the ones collecting these taxes. For homeowners, this means receiving a yearly tax bill that reflects their home's assessed value. The revenue generated from these taxes goes towards public schools, police services, roads, and other vital community services. It's important to note that even if you own land, you're generally still liable for property taxes. Failing to pay can lead to penalties or even a tax lien on your property, which is a serious matter. When ownership of property changes hands, other taxes may come into play. For example, there's often a sales tax when you buy a car, and inheritance taxes can apply to large estates. These taxes are lawful obligations, and all property owners must comply with them. But property ownership isn't just about paying taxes. It also comes with responsibilities. Governments impose regulations to ensure that land is used safely and responsibly. Zoning laws dictate what a property can be used for, whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial. For instance, if you live in a residential zone, you can't just decide to open a factory in your backyard. Building codes and permits are another layer of regulation, ensuring that any construction meets safety standards. You typically need a permit to add a room or build a garage. There are also environmental and safety regulations that might require special permits for certain activities, like handling hazardous materials. While these rules may feel restrictive at times, they are designed to protect the community and the environment. Globally, the right to own property is recognized in democratic constitutions and international agreements. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone has the right to own property, either individually or collectively. Similarly, the European Convention on Human Rights guarantees peaceful enjoyment of possessions, allowing state interference only for public interest and with fair compensation. This means that in democracies, ownership rights are protected, and you can't just be arbitrarily removed from your land or lose your assets without due process. However, these rights aren't absolute. Society's needs, such as urban planning or tax obligations, can impose limits on how you use your property. Strong property rights are crucial for a peaceful society. When people trust that their ownership will be protected by law, they're more likely to invest, create businesses, and use resources efficiently. This stability encourages economic growth and individual freedom. Understanding property rights is essential. They encompass the legal rights to use, enjoy, and transfer what you own. Assets can be categorized into real property, like land and buildings, personal property, which includes movable items, and intellectual property covering ideas and creations. Possession means holding something, while ownership refers to full legal title. You can possess something without owning it, like when you rent an apartment. Ownership can be transferred through sale, gift, or trade, and official documents like deeds or titles prove ownership. Co-ownership is also common, where joint owners share rights, and arrangements like joint tenancy or tenants in common define how those shares work. Owners have rights to use their property, collect income, and exclude others, but they also have duties, such as maintaining the property, paying taxes, and adhering to laws. Encumbrances, like liens or easements, can limit what you can do with your property until they are received. Special rules apply to lost and abandoned property, with finders often able to claim lost items, while abandoned items can be claimed by anyone. When it comes to inheritance, laws dictate how assets are transferred to heirs or beneficiaries. If there's a will, it guides the transfer. If not, The law specifies who inherits. Disputes over ownership can be resolved through negotiation, mediation, arbitration, or, if necessary, the courts. Governments have powers that include eminent domain, allowing them to take property for public use with fair compensation, collecting property taxes, and enforcing regulations. Across democracies, constitutions and laws protect property rights while allowing reasonable limits for the public good. Understanding these concepts helps individuals know their rights and responsibilities, empowering them to protect their assets and resolve ownership issues effectively.